Welcome, I'm Rogers Anderson. As we travel around Williamson County today, we had the opportunity to meet with a person that I've come to really love and appreciate, Ellie Westman Chin. Ellie is our director, the head go-to person for our Convention Visitors Bureau. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
We were sitting here talking right before we went live, and it had been about a year since you'd been on, and I, first of all, have to say I'm sorry, but second of all, where's the year gone?
I don't know where the year went, but I feel much more comfortable coming on this time and more educated because you had me on about 2 months after I started last year.
Well, for those people that didn't watch the early show a year ago, let's talk about Ellie and where she's from. And there'll be people watching this and say, well, I might have a daughter or a granddaughter or a son or a grandson that might be interested in your profession. Not we're trying to get rid of you or anything, but there's always that future individual out there that's, what in the world is Convention and Visitors Bureau, and how did you get started? Where'd you go to school and all of those things?
Well, I went to school right here in Middle Tennessee at Lipscomb University and in marketing, and got my marketing degree. Sort of fell into hospitality. In 1993, I was the second hire to start the Nashville Sports Council. At the time, it was a division of the Nashville Convention and Visitors Bureau, and that's how I got my start in tourism. And I've been in tourism ever since. I love this industry. I think it's a growing and exciting industry to be in. If you're passionate, you know, it's what a great place to be. I get to wake up every morning and I get to talk about Williamson County. That's a great job. And to be able to go out and travel and tell others about our community and why they should come here is really exciting. But I think one neat thing about hospitality is there's a lot of different paths in our industry. You know, there's hotels and restaurants and caterers and AV companies. So if someone's interested, they should take a hard look because there's a lot of different things you can do under the umbrella of hospitality.
So the education requirement would be more in communication or just falling into it, like you said?
I got lucky. You know, when we look to hire someone at our destination marketing organization, we're looking for someone with marketing, sales, and communication experience. Very simply put, a CVB is a sales and marketing organization. You know, we are working in social media, we're working in print media, we're working in TV, and how do we market our destination day in and day out? So those are the things that I'm looking for whenever we hire a new position.
So a lot of people probably understand economic development or the term, and there's a distinct difference between economic development director and the CVB, the Convention Visitors Bureau director. And everybody has a different name for that last word, but to kind of explain the differences. But yet, it's not that you're walking down the aisle hand in hand, because you are different, but there are so many similarities in what you bring to the community is outstanding.
Sure. And we work really closely with Matt Largent and the Williamson County Chamber because there are differences to what we do, but there are similarities. I like to think of the Convention and Visitors Bureau as an economic engine for the community. In 2014, 1.22 million visitors came in, creating a $407 million economic impact. Those are taxes that go into, that our visitors are paying, that go into our community. I tease Matt Largent because I think the difference is, you know, what Matt's economic development group is doing is they're meeting with companies to relocate here. And when they relocate here, they bring their employees, and those employees live and thrive in our community, and they pay those property taxes and so forth. What we want visitors to do is come in and see us and shop and eat and go to Studio 10 production and then go home. And then new visitors come in. You know, we want our hotels to be full. So that's the difference between Matt and I. Matt wants them to come here, stay, live, thrive. We want them to come in, have a great time, go home and tell all their friends. So.
Well, but you have an impact. The dollars that people spend in our community, and it's probably one number that people, it resonates with them day in and day out. Oftentimes when we're driving around our community, certainly have traffic, we have congestion, but when these 1.2 million people in one given year come to our community and they spend money in our downtown shops or our malls or just in our community, they also save on the property tax.
They do. And, you know, in the hospitality industry, just in Williamson County, we employ almost 3,000 people. So that's good because we want our residents to have great jobs and to be employed. But when those taxes are spent in our community, every household in Williamson County saves $475 a year. So those are property taxes that I don't have to pay and you don't have to pay and so forth. So I have people tell me a lot, what's tourism have to do with me? Because I work in healthcare, I work in a different industry. And I said, well, this is how it affects you. And then they're pretty happy with tourism after that.
There's 95 counties in the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
Just about every, and I'm not real sure how many cities there are. I think there's 134, but somebody could correct me on that real easily. I mean, large cities. Mm-hmm. There's certainly many more cities than counties. But where do we kind of, our society's based on, well, where are we at on the pecking order? How do we rate against X?
Yes. We, of our 95 counties, we are ranked number six in visitor spending. So we're right after the Big Five, or what I call the Big Five: Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and the mountains. So we're solid right in there. And, you know, Franklin's getting a great national reputation, and people want to come here, and they want to see what we have to do. And, you know, we did a survey in 2013, and the number one reason people were coming outside of conventions and meetings, that leisure travelers were coming in, was downtown Franklin. But I can tell you, when they get here, they enjoy it so much. What we get in the visitor center, they come back to our visitor center and say, what else is there to do? And then we send them to Nolensville, and we say, if you like antique shopping, you have to go over to Nolensville. You have to go to the feed mill?
Yes.
Feeds mill, get that chicken salad sandwich. We send them to Leaper's Fork. We send them up to Brentwood because we have the only REI in Middle Tennessee.
Can't use initials on our show.
Well, it's a store, REI.
I understand that.
I know, otherwise I do use a lot of initials. So they're not only coming in for one reason, but once they get here, they're staying for quite a few other reasons, and they're enjoying the experience that we have to offer. It's interesting because this is my third Convention and Visitors Bureau that I work for. It's the first Convention and Visitors Bureau I work for where a high number of visitors come back to our visitor center and say, I've had such a wonderful time. Can you tell me about a real estate agent, because I think I want to relocate here?
So you've mentioned twice already this morning your office, the store. Mm-hmm. Where are you located?
We're right downtown on the corner of 4th and Main.
Many people might remember you at the old Peach,
yes,
Pig and Peach location.
That's right.
And it's amazing how that always hangs around, or it's kind of like going into someone's community. Well, whose house did you buy?
Right.
It's
exactly.
not where you live, it's whose home did you purchase. So let's talk about some of the claims. The other night during the county commission meeting, you were just absolutely bubbling over with enthusiasm, talking about the many, many things that are occurring in our town from your perspective. Hotel occupancy. Let's just kind of start from the top, and if you could go to about 40,000 feet and then bring us on down to the lower level. How many rooms, how many hotels do we have in town? Because it's oftentimes overlooked by the general population just how many rooms we have. We all know what's going on up just north of this county, mm-hmm. and how that's having an effect, good effect, of people coming in here to visit and find places to shop and visit and spend their money.
Yes, they are. Presently, we have 34 hotels in Williamson County with 4,000 rooms. We have 8 hotels either in the pipeline or going to be in the pipeline soon, with just over 1,000 more rooms that will be added in the next 2 years. So we're growing at a very fast rate. And you know, and as I was thinking this morning, as I was getting ready, thinking about our conversation, and I'm like, I bet he's going to ask me what my concerns are. So
sooner or later, I'm getting to that.
That's exactly right. And you know, and that's wonderful growth. And that's just hotels. That doesn't include what new restaurants are moving in, what new attractions are moving in. It's the whole package that's happening. But how do we maintain that? And how do we've had wonderful growth the last 10 years, and how do we maintain that growth? And not only, you mentioned our neighbors to the north, we're adding just over 1,000 new hotel rooms here in Williamson County. In the next 2 years, they're adding 3,400 more rooms. Well, we got to fill all those hotels. We do get a lot of compression out of Nashville. They are great neighbors and friends of ours. Whenever they get full, they call us for overflow rooms, and that's a wonderful thing for us. But they're going to fill their rooms first. So when they get 3,400 rooms, they're going to fill those before they start sending them to us. So we've been working really closely with our hotel community of how can we always work with Nashville? That is such a key piece to our success. But how do we also just stand on our own 2 feet? So when Nashville starts filling their rooms first, we're still strong in Williamson County.
When you think about the people that are putting their heads in beds with all of the business that we do have here in our community, the large corporations, the smaller corporations, the people come to town, salesmen and women come in, training occurs. People come to our hotels to have procedures at our hospitals. We don't always think of that, but each one of those individuals that stays here pays that hotel motel tax. And that contributes to this economic cycle that we have here in our county. Can you kind of break out how much business is coming in, that a percentage maybe, that is our business side versus just strictly leisure side?
I can. We're about 65% business, and whether that's somebody's coming in to meet with Nissan or a meeting. I was over at the Marriott earlier this week, and there was a big meeting in the conference center. All of those things. So about 65% of that business those visitors are business, and the others are leisure travelers. Nashville's on a rise with leisure travelers, and we're seeing that down here. We work really closely with the Music City Concierge Association. So if somebody's staying at the Omni and they've done all the attractions and they want something else, then we say, yeah, send them down to Franklin and we'll take care of them down here. But business travel is a huge, huge business for us. And it's interesting how people came in. This week alone, I met with Spark, which is Lipscomb's Idea Center down here in Williamson County. By the time they're done this year, they're going to have about 6,000 people come through their doors, of which probably half of those are from out of town that have come in for training. In my Leadership Franklin class, I have a teammate that is with a local funeral home, and he said, I really need to get with you because, we have a lot of people come in from out of town for funerals, and we need a direction for them of where they can stay. So they come in for all sorts of different reasons, and that's, then they stay in our hotels, and they're paying that tax when they're in the hotels.
Recently, I was looking at a magazine, a very, very large publication of a magazine that's, I guess, just about a large percentage of women have in their house. I'm trying to go around without naming it. But they do a lot of advertising, mostly the southern hemisphere of our country, Alabama, Mississippi, and certainly Nashville is always in there. And I happen to know that in the years gone past, the CVB has had ads in this particular magazine, Southern Living, that often has highlighted places like Leapers Fork and things.
And we continue to do that. We usually will run ads with our partners because Southern Living is a great publication, but it is expensive. So we'll reach out to our partners such as Leapers Fork or Puckett's and so on and so forth and say, let's do an ad together so we can get, because that exposure is great and that drive market is what we're promoting too. So that's an important piece of what we do.
So as I look out into the future, and you mentioned, your concerns, and I'm always concerned, where is Williamson County in 10 years and 20 years? I know that you've had a stellar career in this industry, but you really started over in the, what I call the sports world. Didn't start, but I mean, you had a real strong presence in that sports world. And as the concerns for our community with increased people moving here and keeping that awareness up and keeping the same standard of living that we have, preserving, protecting our community and our county. A lot of people say shut the gate on the last person that came in, mayor, and figure out ways to help the transportation, in which Dr. Ken Moore and all the mayors are working feverishly on trying to find solutions for a lot of these things. At night before you go to sleep, what keeps you that one eye from closing that that we don't get into the trap? More people doesn't always mean that you have a bigger and better CVB department.
What keeps me up at night? Lots of things keep me up at night. I'm sure you're the same way. I think one of the keys to success for us is really working with our partners. And I work very hard to try to keep all the lines of communication open. CVBs are here to promote a destination, but we don't own anything personally. You know, we don't say come to our attraction or come to our restaurant. So for us to work within the restaurant community and the hotels and the attractions and all the different things that are happening is really important. And as people, you know, as GMs move on and we get new GMs and trying to bring them into the loop, into the community of what we're doing, trying to reach out to new developers that are coming in to make sure they understand about our community and how we operate here and how, you know, we work together as a team to promote. And that, you know, that's a lot of time, but I think that's a really important thing that we do, because we all need to make sure that we're heading in the same direction from a tourism standpoint, and promoting the way that we need to promote to get folks in. The house museums, for instance, Carton and Carter and Lotz, they are an integral part of our community, not only our history, but our visitors. I mean, this year alone, about 100,000 people are going to come into our community to go to those house museums. So what are they doing, and how can we support them, and how can we work together, and so forth. So that's a lot of time of what we do to make sure we're out in the community understanding what they're doing.
So how important is sports to our community? I dare say that anyone watching this show knows that on Downs Boulevard on just about any given Saturday in the spring and the fall is one of our largest cities. It's called Soccer City. And those soccer events are occurring at Brentwood and other places throughout our county. But how important are the recreational sports, the travel team sports, other sports ventures we haven't even tapped into? Volleyball. We were just talking before the show went on air with the staff here at Channel 3. The football playoffs, they're in full swing, and lots of people travel into our community, and we're very fortunate in our county right now. We've still got a strong presence in the TSSAA football playoff with our high school football teams, and before you know it, basketball's kicking in. There is an enormous appetite for sports in our community.
Yes, there is. And there's an enormous appetite for sporting events wanting to come into our community. Our sports sales manager, Nate Gaw, is in Las Vegas right now for a conference called Teams, and it's a sports conference. And at these conferences, you have appointments. So basically, he will sit in our booth, and every 7 minutes, he'll meet with a different sports promoter. So while he was at this conference, he had an opportunity to have up to 40 appointments. Before he left, he had 40 appointments. 40 people want to meet with him, and he probably has a waiting list. And so I spoke with him yesterday, and I said, how's it going out there? Because I'm sure he's exhausted. Think about this, sitting in a booth all day, every 7 minutes, And I said, what are they saying? And he said, I used to spend the first 3 minutes of my 7 minutes talking about Williamson County and where we're located, and we're X amount of minutes south of Nashville and so forth. And he said, now I spend about 30 seconds doing that. People are coming to me with RFPs, requests for proposals, in hand, saying, I want to be in Williamson County. How can you help me get there? So I asked them, I said, well, what are you hearing? What type of sports? Soccer is always a big one for us. Cheerleading. And you know why? They love the Ag Expo. That big space with those big tall ceilings, and with the way the bowl is, cheerleading loves to be in there. So he's hearing cheerleading, volleyball, very big, volleyball, and lacrosse. He said, there's a lot of different sports. And there are, we had a call the other day from a cornhole tournament. It's like 100 teams in this cornhole tournament. So it's all different types of sports. But we can do that here in Williamson County because we have Downs Boulevard, but then we have Ag Expo. So we have very different, and then of course we work closely with Franklin City Parks on baseball, and Archery talked to us about going to Harlansdale Park. So, and then of course cross country, and we've got the cross country
And swimming.
track and swimming. So, we'll talk to anybody, but we love sports because they come in droves. When a youth sports tournament comes in, it's not just the child that's playing, it's the parents, and they're going to bring the sibling, and maybe grandma and grandpa's going to come with them, and they have a game at 10 a.m. in the morning. Well, then they might not play again until 4 in the afternoon. That means they got a big old chunk of time that they can come into our community and have lunch or go to, Carton Plantation and do a tour, and they're spending time in our community. So we love those tournaments, and they fill rooms.
And so when we hear this about our sports, and I noticed you didn't mention pickleball, so for all the folks out there that would like a different sport for the middle age and up, pickleball is growing in popularity too, so I don't get any phone calls. The pickleball industry has contacted me, so I will let the folks watching this show try to figure out what pickleball, but it is one of the fastest growing adult sports, clean, wholesome, and you can have a degree of success with it. Do we need to invest? Do we need to look at other sporting venues coming to our community? Unfortunately, oftentimes a lot of these sporting venues, it's seasonal for them, and they're in it to make money. The Ag Park has now been there about 13, 14 years, I think. I was sitting here thinking when you said soccer, I remember back in the early 80s, there was a gentleman that was huge in the country music industry. You probably do not remember this name. His name was Jerry Reed.
Yeah, sure.
All right, well, Jerry Reed was the name of the soccer tournament that occurred on Downs Boulevard before Downs was even
Really?
in. And his family participated in the soccer, so it was the Jerry Reed tournament.
Okay.
And that's how soccer, then you've got guys like Jose and many, many others that have come into our community and developed this soccer mentality that we have got here in our community. But as you look out into that crystal ball, as our community grows and we're trying to secure more activities for our community to actually reduce the property taxes. Not a reason you would be involved, but it's a byproduct of a successful sports convention business bureau that you're in charge of. What are we missing?
We're missing more venues.
More venues.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I always preference when I speak, I do look at things through a tourism lens. And I understand the importance of working with our, having venues for our residents, because I'm out in them all the time,
Sure,
hiking and doing
sure.
different things. So I know that's important. But I will tell you that quite often we turn things away because we can't fit them in. We just don't have the venue availability for them. And there's many more things we could be booking if we had more venues here. Where hockey is big for us. U.S. figure skating, some of their regional events, they're looking to come here and they would like to be here. So there's many times where we just don't have space,
Well, in just a couple of weeks, well, not a couple of weeks, but in about 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to see the holiday season's already kicking in. Christmas advertisements are going on the television and everywhere you turn. I have said for several years the downtown Franklin area will become a destination for Christmas travelers. Already this year we've been requested, because we own the courthouse, the taxpayers really own it, but the county's responsible for it, to decorate the historical courtroom even earlier for the activities that are going on with Franklin and the carolers and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what a beautiful setting.
Yes, it is.
What a natural bowl of activities for our community. And every city and county in America has something unique, and I think Franklin and Williamson County have that same uniqueness in that community flavor around the holiday time. So I suspect over the next few years that's going to be even bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, they've just notified me we've got about 3.5 minutes, and I know you've got a whole bunch of sheets of paper there that I haven't even got to. So what do you need to talk about before the show wraps up? We'll just have you back again.
There's so much. We were just talking about that before we went on. That there's so much happening in this county that you could talk about it for a long time. But I think the holidays. We've created a holiday page on our website, visitwilliamson.com, that lists all the different holiday activities. You know, Franklin does a wonderful tree lighting. Brentwood does a wonderful tree lighting at the library. Studio 10 is producing It's a Wonderful Life at the factory. The trolley will be driving around so you can stop, hop, and shop. The Franklin Theater is going to be doing movies. We're going to do story time in our visitor center for visitors and residents alike. So one Saturday is going to be Elsa and Olaf from Frozen, and Buddy the Elf will come in and tell his story, and Santa will come in and tell his story. So if anyone has children, come out and join us on Saturday mornings.
And those are listed on the website.
They're all listed on the website. So there's the new holiday Homes for the Holidays, the holiday tour, will be happening the same weekend as Dickens of a Christmas, which is such a wonderful annual tradition for us. So if you want to come out and be part of the holidays, there's something for everyone here. Yeah.
Well, in the 2 minutes we've got, kind of focus in on, I know you've got a wonderful staff. There's no way you can do the kind of job you're doing without that staff.
Absolutely.
You see them around, their smiley faces, they're involved in so many things. But as you look at the next 30 days and throughout the first part of the 2016 year, people can go to your website. People can find activities to do, because even though this community is growing the way that it's growing, there's a lot of people that do stay here over the holiday season.
There is. And we have been working very diligently with our communities to find out, for instance, what restaurants are open on Thanksgiving Day. We're getting that question a lot. As our international visitor grows, they're going to eat on Thanksgiving Day. That's not Thanksgiving for them.
Right.
You know, so they want a place to go and eat. So Facebook, our social media, Facebook, we have a very active Facebook page. So if you want to find out, oh, my family's in town over Thanksgiving weekend and we've all been in the house for 2 days together and it's time to get out and do a few things, visit our Facebook page or visit our website and you can see all the different activities that are happening.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for
thanks
having
for
me.
what you have been able to do over the short period of time that you have been here. If you're interested in more about the convention, the Visitors Bureau, Ellie is available for conversations and speaking engagements. Go to our website, call her. I don't know your number right offhand.
615-790-5333.
Ellie's, the smile you see on her face here today is the same one you would see if you have her come out and speak to your church organization, and she's very amenable to doing that. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
I'm Rogers Anderson. We'll see you around at the next show. Have a good day.